Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with might, the Golden Octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling might, the Golden Octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
And what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. Man, it's good to be back. It felt like we was gone way longer than 2 weeks for these fights, but we're back, D-Rose, and I'm glad. We're here to talk about it. Hope you're doing well. Hope all the chat's doing well. On today's show, we have our quick UFC 311 recap. Probably going to run through that in about 5 minutes. We got some UFC Fights news and announcements to go over, and then what I'm sure the majority of you are here for. Let me stay on the camera. UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia, Fight Morning Saudi Arabia. Adesanya versus Imavov. We're going to give you our preview and our picks for that. Fights are taking place. Prelims start at 9 a.m. on the East Coast, 6 a.m. on the West Coast. So if you're waking up on the West Coast at 6 a.m. to watch Hamdi and Bella Wahab versus Jamal Bogues, God bless you. God bless you. Before we get into all that, D-Rose, how have you been, my guy? And then we'll shout out the chat.
If I'm being honest, I'm surprised that the Hamdi Abdelwahab fight is still going on, considering I'm surprised that the dude hasn't just like pissed absolute red and came back in a negative test. But
he's gone. He's been gone 2 years already, so 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that had to be some hot piss, man, for him to be gone for this long, man. That's absolutely nuts, especially in the UFC too, because they're pretty lenient. But no, everything's been great over this way, man. I know there was a little bit of break in the UFC action, but there was some combat sports stuff, over the weekend. I thought the bare knuckle event was pretty good. So, I didn't watch it live, but I did go back and DAZN basically posted like the whole fight card highlights like in just one clip. So I just went back and watched it, and man, there's some pretty nasty, gnarly knockouts on that card. I know PFL had the event too. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes, and that was a close fight as well. So some MMA action, but it still doesn't take the cake as far as the UFC action goes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you've been doing well, and I'm glad you're excited to be back and watch some UFC fights. That's what we are all excited for. Let's shout out the chat real quick, and then we'll get into the show. We've got Antoine here first. Yo, let's go, boys. We're back in the Middle East. Indeed, Antoine. Before we start, I got to get D-Rose's reaction to GFL draft and Tyrone being the number one overall draft. I'm surprised it wasn't Tyson at this point, being 42 of the welterweight division.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely nuts. And on the whole draft seemed to be a debacle. Like, I didn't watch it. All I saw was just most of the reactions from it. And basically that they were drafting on different teams, and all of a sudden there was like a list of the picks that basically already came out before the picks were announced. So the whole thing seemed like it was like staged. It was absolutely crazy. And for someone to choose Tyron, the Frozen One Woodley, that's absolutely crazy for him to be the number one pick. and you had a whole pool of guys as well. I mean, if we're going to talk about like best physique or whatever, maybe Tyron Woodley, because I mean, he looks good at a weigh-in, but other than that, yeah, I don't know what you're doing with the number one pick with Tyron Woodley. That's absolutely nuts.
I don't even think he gets, dude. I'm not. We might have one event. I don't think we have two events though.
Yeah. Well, they're saying, and I guess you got to think because they're UFC castaways, but they're still big names in the sport, so they're not going to fight for cheap. So I got to imagine that if GFL is going to fund all this money into all these fighters, like, dude, you're going to have like a massive turnaround. And if you don't, this thing's going to spiral out quick. So I'm with you. I think we could potentially see a couple of events because I don't see all these fighters basically signing up to not really have more than like at least one fight plan. But I think after maybe the first year or two, this thing's going to crash in the dust.
I just don't know how they're going to pay him. I just don't know how they're going to pay everyone, dude. Also, do you think Sherry gets a top 10 guy if he's really impressive here? I think UFC are going to give him this big fights. I think it'll be fun to see him in top 5. I don't know. I think
top 10 seems.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, top 10 just seems like still a little bit of a quick jump just because I mean he is beating pretty solid guys. But I mean, could you imagine what a guy like Fluffy Hernandez would do to Char Bullet, dude? I mean, I think that would be a pretty bad matchup. I think, Brendan Allen, another guy who I think would be a really tough matchup. I mean, hell, maybe even Marvin Vittori. So I don't know if Char Bullet's like quite ready for that top 10 just yet. Top 15 for sure. You can catch the back end, maybe like a Chris Curtis type or something like that, but maybe not quite top 10 just yet.
Fair enough. I think it just really hinders him that he can only fight in the Middle East, and that's it. We got Austin in here. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward to the stream. 3 more sleeps until this surprisingly awesome card. LFG. Shout out you, Austin, for stopping by here tonight. I'm excited. You know what time it is. Put all your money on the Arabs by decision.
Split decision at that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, be sure for that, too.
We got Sugar Ray. Matt discovered hair gel. D Rose just commented on that. It's actually not even hair gel. It's just water. I just put some water in my hair and combed it back. Not even hair gel. It's just wet.
Got that slick back.
Just wet. Matt got that pimp slick back.
She only want me for my pimp juice.
Oh, we're gonna break in some Nelly again here. Do you guys think that the benefits and stuff are real? Conan Silvera said the most of the important things for the whole organization. My thing is, I just don't know how. Where's the money coming from? And for this to happen, there has to be someone watching it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool, but am I going to pay pay-per-view money to watch Tyron Woodley fight? No, I'm not. I just don't care, So it's like I just don't know where the money's coming from, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times, like major corporations and businesses, they always end up having like people who they could basically get like loans from or just loans from like banks in general to be able to start a fund with something like this. But the biggest thing is that you're going to need some type of return on investment, as they like to say, or ROI for short in the business world. I just don't see where the return is going to come in at with basically older washed UFC fighters. I mean, and I love Chris Weidman and all, but Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold. I mean, sure, that could be a pretty decent fight. It's a pretty decent matchup, but that would be on a prelim card on UFC pay-per-view or maybe on the main card on a fight night. But I mean, that's about it. You know what I mean? So now you're going to try to take those types of guys and potentially have them in pay-per-view status. I just don't see how it's going to last.
Yeah, I just don't see how Tyron Woodley versus Sage Northcutt does it. I just don't know, dude.
Yeah. Kevin Lee versus Tony Ferguson too. I mean, who's really getting excited for that?
Hey, there's a lot of Tony fans. They're gonna come after you.
I love me some Tony. Tony needs to hang it up, dude. I'm so tired of seeing him get just absolutely battered. Like he is just the man that he was is not the man that he is, and it's just sad. It's sad to watch. I love me some Tony Ferguson. You know how I was on Tony, man. Like, as far as him, I was like, dude, he's going to be Habib. Like, he can do it. But man, at this point, dude, it's gone, man. Please just hang it up.
Indeed. All right, D-Rose, let's get into it. Our UFC 311 recap, just real quick. It's been a couple weeks. Islam submits Renato Moicano round 1. A little bit quicker than what I thought it was going to happen. I maybe thought Renato would have had a round in him, but no. Merab surprises the world, defeating Umar via decision, dude. And
not me.
Yeah, I thought it was close fight, but I think Merab decisively won the fight. How do I even begin this? Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. You know how I feel about this. I've been sending you clips of this fight in Yuri for the past 2 weeks now, dude. I'm still so happy for Yuri, man. His head movement was just on another level. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Listen to that whole thing. Just shout out Yuri Prochazka. So stoked that he was able to get the dub again, and he doesn't want to win via decision ever, dude. He always wants to win via finish, and that's the only way. Jelton Almeida gets the round 1 knockout over Sergey Spivak. Not too surprising there. Not grounded pound, though, which I thought it was going to. This one right here lost me the pick champ, Renier de Ridder versus Kevin Holland. I thought Kevin Holland probably had some kind of power to knock out Renier de Ridder, but Renier was just so big, so strong in there. Kevin Holland didn't really have anything for it, to be honest. Prelims, Peyton Talbot ruined everyone's parlays. That's all I need to say. Zach Reese got knocked out by Azamat Bakoev and then got knocked out by the referee slamming his head down again. Crazy odd there. Dude, that was wild. He was like, oh, you're not knocked out? Let me make sure.
And he got punched in the back of the head.
Wham!
Yeah, and he got punched in the back of the head, too. That was the worst part. Like, he got punched in the back of the head, twice. And then he ended up getting knocked out, and then the ref literally comes in with a shoulder dive, WWE style, and just completely slams his head on the ground. Shit was crazy.
Yeah. I think Zach Reese is now busted prospect. I will not be betting on him unless he's fighting an absolute can from now on. Bogdan Guskov submits Billy Elikana in round 2. I would have rather had the knockout, but he kept going for the sub, and he finally got it. Grant Dawson wins via decision against Diego Ferreira. I think you called that one. I thought he would probably get the finish, but he ended up not getting the finish. Early prelims, this one killed me. I know you're happy about it, though. The finger hole popper, butthole shower. Aileen Perez gets the decision win over Carol Hossa. Dude, I don't understand, man.
You're a WMMA man. How did you not see that coming?
I don't know. Moeen Gafarov just absolutely outclasses Rinya Nakamura, dude. How wild was that? Bernardo Sopai defeats Ricky Tercios. No surprise there. And Tagir Ulanbekov defeats Clayton Carpenter via decision. No surprise there. Bunch of fighters lost their undefeated records. I think 3 or 4 lost their undefeated records this past weekend. 2, 3, and Umar 4. Ooh, Clayton Carpenter, Clayton Carpenter, Peyton Talbot, and I just now saw it. What was the other one? Rinya Nakamura. They all lost their 0 a couple weeks ago. Dude. Any thoughts on the fights from a couple weeks ago now?
It was no. I'm trying to fix my light here. My light's it's sitting here blinding me a little bit. But no, I thought it was a badass card for the most part. We ended up doing the live stream from it, and your reaction to the Yuri fight was, obviously probably the highlight of the card. You just going absolutely nuts with Yuri finally getting the KO over. And honestly, that was a hell of a fight, dude. A back and forth, dude, they were going at it. And like I said, give Jamal Hill credit because he did end up getting rocked in that first round. getting knocked on his butt, getting right back up and getting right back in the fight, man. So really like the guts that he showed in that fight, but Yuri just showed that, hey man, as long as he can incorporate a little bit of head movement in there, hey, he's still at worst, let's say, the second best light heavyweight in the world. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then the Merab fight, I know you said he shocked the world, but he didn't necessarily shock me because I did see that coming, just because it did seem like Umar was getting a little bit too quick of a jump up, in my opinion. And I think that, the fight ended up kind of playing out to be that way, and that's why I said, I can understand Merab's argument about Umar, how he didn't really deserve the title fight coming into it, but they gave it to him because of nepotism, and ultimately the UFC is going to do what they're going to do at the end of the day. But, it was Merab's job to go out there and basically prove that point. And I thought Merab did exactly that. I told you, I thought it was 4 rounds of one Merab during the fight. And one of the judges at least had that same scorecard that I did as well. Merab winning the last 4 rounds. So good fight there. Islam's just an absolute animal, dude. And maybe, let's just say maybe Armin dodged the bullet. Maybe Armin dodged the bullet. I don't know, because that was his secret move. I know he had the secret move coming into the week. His secret move was to and he was out of there. He just threw up the peace sign and was gone, and let Renato Moicano be the sacrificial lamb for that pay-per-view. So we pretty much ran down the whole card. We had the reaction to it on Saturday, but for the highlights for the card, that was kind of what really stood out to me for the most part.
Fair enough. So with that being said, I'm sorry the sound quality of it was terrible, but if you guys want to see our complete reaction to the pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, the live stream is up on the channel. So let's get into our UFC news and fight announcements for past couple weeks. We got a little bit to cover because we've been gone. So up first, we have none other than Justin the Highlight Gaethje taking on Tattooed Dan the Hangman Hooker. That's UFC 313 March 8th. What's your immediate thoughts on that one, D-Rose?
Man, that's a badass fight. I know we had the reaction to that during the live stream as well. I got pretty pumped up for that because it was one that they had said it has been in the works for what seems like the last couple of months now. Gaethje and Hooker have been kind of throwing each other's name around for a little bit, and finally putting pen to paper. And I think we're going to be probably talking about a couple of fights on that card. That card is going to be absolutely stacked, but that is going to be the people's main event because it's going to be absolute violence. And I'm even curious to see if it even goes to 5 rounds. Gaethje has never been 5 rounds in his entire career. Just a note on that there. So I wouldn't be surprised if that would end up going to a finish as well.
Yeah. Emo Dan Hooker walking out to where are you? Yeah, dude.
Emo Dan Hooker. That is a good one though. I like that.
Yeah, him and his big titty goth girlfriend. All right, we'll move on. Also, UFC 313, we've got the return of Peloton, Alex Pereira, taking on Magomed Ankalaev. It's going to be a headline UFC 313 on March 8th. This is going to be T-Mobile Arena, so that is in Vegas. Yeah, man, Alex Pereira just staying active, doing the damn thing, and I just don't think Ankalaev just really has anything for him. I think Ankalaev's going to get leg kicked and then knocked out. I guess what's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I think I just laugh because it's so funny, like how many people are just like, I felt like Ankalaev had like such like momentum there for a little bit, and now it was like after that Jan fight, it was like, dude, his stock just completely plummeted. And then he had the Johnny Walker bull crap to where, what was it, the knee on the ground or to ground his opponent or whatever it was, and it was just it was constantly something that Ankalaev has done to like put himself in the bad public image to where he's always like, people are like, man, screw this guy, who cares about him? But at the end of the day, he does actually, technically deserve the title shot if we want to be fair about it. What's fair in the UFC, but I mean, at this point, it doesn't make sense to not make the fight. I do think that, especially if Alex is going to continue to be the underdog. I mean, how could I not bet Alex Pereira? Especially if Magomed keeps letting Ali Abdelaziz talk smack on his Twitter to say that he's going to stand the whole fight. So if Magomed is going to stand the whole fight, man, I just don't. I don't see it for Ankalaev. He's going to have to take the wrestling route, or he's going to get diced, man.
Yeah. I guess after this fight, after Ankalaev gets knocked out and such, say they get matched up. Say he gets matched up against Jamal Hill. Dude, who will people root for in that fight? We got Ankalaev versus Jamal Hill, dude. It's like,
dude, that would be somebody's PBF. That would be somebody's PBF. Yeah, like 1,000%.
Like, I hate these fighters.
Yeah, dude, fuck this fight. I ain't watching this bullshit. I'm like how I was with the NFC Championship this past Sunday. Like, I'm like, man, I ain't watching this bull.
You still watched it, though, didn't you?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, it's football. I'm going to watch it, but I watched it. I watched it just with just the shittiest look on my face. Just you mother.
You're like, I hope it was a tie, 0-0.
I hope both y'all lose. And they're going to lose to the Chiefs anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, back into UFC. We got Nikita Krylov taking on Dominic, the Devastator Reyes. This is UFC 314. That's April 12th. What's your thoughts on this
one? That's a good fight, a good matchup, and I think Dominic Reyes is kind of getting the proper matchups to kind of rebuild himself back up. Having a guy like Dustin Jacoby and Anthony Smith, in his most recent fights, kind of getting himself, back a little bit. And I think, for Nikita Krylov, he's a good fighter, but he's a little bit older, and he makes a lot of mistakes in a lot of his fights as well. He's not great at one thing, but he's good at everything just about. But there's bad IQ moments, and Dominic Reyes is sharp, man. So I think it's a proper matchmaking, but I definitely see Dominic Reyes probably finishing him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bet like the Reyes gets knocked out every single fight now, dude. No matter who it is, I'm just gonna bet that he gets knocked out.
I can't blame you. It's not a bad bet. We've seen him be super chinny before. I hope he's figured it out, because I know you like to dunk on Dominic Reyes. I like Dominic Reyes, so I don't want to, I don't want to shit on the guy. I hope he bounces back, because when he's on his game, he is fun to watch, man, because he's fast.
Yeah. Do you guys think Justin is a future Hall of Famer off the resume and in terms of order? I personally think so, just off of his exciting fights, and he got all the bonuses in his all of his fights. There's been a bonus, so I personally think so. How about you, Dearest?
Yeah, I think for sure that Justin Gaethje will be a future UFC Hall of Famer. I mean, I don't see how. I know he's got. Or he might not have fights just yet, but I mean, I think you could pretty much go through his first 3 UFC fights and put all those in with Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez, and Michael Johnson. I mean, those 3 alone are just absolute bangers. And of course, we could just go on and on with the classic bangers that he's already had before. Putting Tony Ferguson, basically he was the end of Tony Ferguson, because he absolutely ended Tony Ferguson, and Tony Ferguson hasn't gotten a win since Justin Gaethje. So yeah, the UFC Hall of Fame for sure.
And can you put Alex in top 10 MMA fighters of all time with accolades and resume? I think so. Strictly off the double champ, you kind of have to off that, because there's not many that's done that.
Yeah. Top 10 is. The only reason why it's kind of tricky is just because he did kind of, the UFC did basically put him on a rocket ship to the top of the division. Now, he did his job in winning the fights, but I do think that it's top 10 is tough, man. Just because a lot of those dudes have long title defenses or, long streaks of being undefeated. And, Alex Pereira has gotten a little bit of, even though he's taking fights on short notice, a little bit of favorable matchmaking as well. So, once you go through and kind of pick it apart, top 10, I just had to really break it down to see for sure.
All right, and I'll let you answer that one because I'm not a fan of either team. I don't care.
I mean, the Ravens really just honestly, they just gotta keep it together. I mean, they got the squad. Yeah, I mean, and they were the ones that really, they should have beaten Buffalo in that playoff game. In my opinion, the Ravens should have. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot. So I think really they just got to keep the same group and just quit shitting their pants. And the Cowboys have a lot of things. This is the UFC podcast, so I don't want to get into all that. Coach's side, yeah, there's a lot of things they need to do. So,
indeed, we got Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze 2. Did you know we wanted this one, D-Rose? It's going to headline UFC Vegas 104 March 15th. Okay. That's my reaction. Okay. Can't wait to see what the rest of this fucking card looks like.
Yeah, no, that's going to be. So this is the main? Oh, my gosh. Wow. That's absolute dog water. And that's on my birthday. That's crazy. What a main event on my birthday, dude. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Like, I was getting Jamie Pickett on my birthday, so you get at least a solid main event like this,
Yeah. Well, no, I will say their first fight was actually pretty. Their first fight was actually it was pretty fun. Marvin Vettori just took absolute bombs from Roman Dolidze, but I actually thought I bet Roman Dolidze in that fight, and of course got the dub. I thought Vettori actually won that fight when that fight was over. So, I couldn't be too upset because I actually got the dub. But yeah, 5 rounds, I could make the difference in that fight. But the winner of this fight, did they do anything significant in the division? Not a chance.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We've got Andre Filia taking on Ezekiel Costa, Melky Costa, UFC Seattle, February 22nd. Austin will be at that one, so shout out Austin. You get to go see Melky Costa versus Andre Filia. You got any thoughts here?
Solid fight. That's about it, really.
All right. We'll move on. Renat Fakardinov is out, and Gabriel Bonfim will now face Chaos Williams, UFC Vegas 102, February 15th. Welterweight division. Yeah. Anything here, man?
Yeah. No. This is an interesting matchup because Chaos Williams. I'm surprised that he was willing to step up and take a fight against a guy like a Bonfim with good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. But hey, Chaos Williams, we know if he lands that one punch on you, man, he can put you out. So, and we've seen Bonfim kind of broken down before by Nicholas Dalby. So that's interesting matchmaking.
Indeed. Austin says, got my tickets. Most expensive tickets I've ever purchased in my life. I hope you enjoy it, though, Austin. Hopefully you got some solid seats and you have the time of your life, my guy. So we'll move on to the next one. We've got Ode Osborne taking on Luis Grulier. That's UFC Vegas 105. I think I saw that dude fight on the Contender Series, but not much outside of that. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Ode Osborne is just kind of like is he kind of just like the Neil Magny at this point, just fighting all the up and comers and stuff like that? That's just kind of what it seems to be now.
Yeah. We got Austin Lane still in the UFC taking on Mario Pinto, added to UFC Vegas 103 March 1st. Yeah, I don't care about that one. How about you?
I don't either.
All right. Fair enough. We'll move on to the next one. We got Ricardo Ramos taking on Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal, added to UFC Vegas 103 March 1st. I know that's your guy, D-Rose. What's your thoughts here? Are we going to get a spinning back elbow, or is Chepe going to continue to look fantastic up at 145?
Yeah, I'd like to see the momentum keep going for Chepe. He's had a lot of good performances, and again, I've won plenty of money off him in his fights. He's been an underdog multiple times, and I've been able to cash in pretty much each time outside of the Trevor Peak fight. I didn't take advantage of that one, but Morgan Charrier and what was it, Jack Jenkins as well. Yeah, got both of those in. So yeah, definitely a fan of Machine Gun. Good fighter, good boxer. He's very just well rounded. Doesn't have the most power, but dude's just extra scrappy. And Ricardo Ramos, as you said, the spinning back elbow machine. So good matchmaking.
Yeah, does Chepe make weight this time? Because he missed the shit out of weight last time, about like 4 or 5 pounds, and almost killed Damon Jackson.
And yeah, I was gonna say, and it was against Damon Jackson, who like got absolutely battered in that fight too. Like, it's not like he needed the weight advantage or anything like that. It just seemed like he was just like, fuck it, I'll just miss weight and kick his ass.
Do you think Chaos has good potential? I think he's a good middle of the road fighter. I think he's got solid power, and he's going to beat a lot of the people that are on UFC level. How about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, I feel about the same. Yeah, I think that he maybe fringe top 15, maybe like 15, 17 range. Solid fighter, but I as far as title aspirations or maybe even top 10, I don't necessarily see that at Chaos, but a fun fighter nonetheless at times. Are you on mute?
Sorry. Yeah, dude, I just saw this picture of Douglas De Silva, Andrade, and dude, he just looks so old. Like, from the neck up, he looks like a 50-year-old man, and from the neck down, he looks like he could be like 25. It's
the crazy part is, it almost looks like his face is photoshopped on his body. Like somebody ended up taking like an old man's face and putting it on like a 25-year-old body. Like, that's just the physique is absolutely nuts, dude.
Yeah, but anyway, we have Douglas Silva, Andrade taking on John the Sexy Mexi Castaneda. That's going to be UFC Vegas 103 March 1st. What's your thoughts on that
one? Should be a solid fight, but I don't necessarily care that much.
Fair enough. Who do you guys favor in this one? I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I'm sure we talked about it. Let's see. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll move on, dude. This one is surprising to me. I feel bad for Bobby Green, man, because I know he's going to get smoked, dude. It's as like Bobby Green fights with his hands down, and you're going to fight against Mauricio Hoofy, dude. I'm going to try not to be dying laughing during this fight, dude. I don't know. We got Bobby King Green taking on Mauricio Hoofy. This is UFC 313, March 8th. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Shout out Fighting Nerds team. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I mean, Hoofy is an absolute hammer, but I mean, Bobby Green, I mean, is he a little bit older and a little bit easier to put up at this point? Yes, he is. But if there's one thing that you can absolutely say about him, is that he is absolutely game. And dude, yeah, he absolutely brings the fight every time. And I'm going to like to see if Mauricio Hoofy, who is it that he fought in Machine Gun Face? Yeah, Yontop. Yeah. Dude, Yontop was tough to put away. He kept kind of pushing on Hoofy a little bit, and Hoofy got a little tired there in the third round. I remember Yontop kind of made that fight a little closer in the third round. We know Bobby Green is a little bit capable of doing that as well, putting the gas pedal on at the last minute. So if Hoofy does not get Bobby Green out of there in the first round, I'm curious to see how that fight goes.
Oh, man, I think he puts Bobby Green out in the first round. All right.
It's fair to say. It is fair to say.
Yeah. Moving on, dude. We got Chase, the Dream Hooper, taking on Jim Miller. That is added to UFC 314 April 12th. So it looks like Chase Hooper getting Clay Guida and then Jim Miller back to back, dude. just taking out the legends. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
I think Chase Hooper actually called for this out of his last fight too. So, and it looks like Chase Hooper is kind of physically coming into form. It seems like, kind of maybe like an Antoine type question to see if Chase Hooper, potentially would have title aspirations up at 155. I just couldn't necessarily see it. I'm actually with Dave here. I think Jim Miller could absolutely smoke Chase Hooper if Chase Hooper is not careful, man. Just because Jim Miller's older does not mean he does not have it. I mean, that dude is still, as we see, that dude still got it. He's still game. He's great on the ground as well. So this is actually pretty good matchmaking to see where Chase Hooper is kind of at.
Yeah, I agree. With all that being said, give me Chase Hooper round 1 sub. and that's all the news that we have. Yeah, dude. I think Jim Miller puts his neck in a lot of bad spots, and you don't want to do that with Chase Hooper, man, who was already a wizard on the ground. Also saw somewhere that Kevin Holland has a fight announced somewhere.
I actually meant to send it to you. It was.
I thought it would be on here, but I don't see it. I think
it was on the.
I know it's for sure down at 170 though.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I will look it up, but real quick, I'll ask your opinion because I was actually just curious to see what you would think. What did you think about? Because I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm sure you probably have. Conor McGregor actually facing off with Jeremy Stephens at BKFC and saying that he's going to get a BKFC fight and all this stuff. Conor McGregor saying that. Where do you think kind of like the turn for McGregor, like just what your opinion is overall of him kind of being the who the fuck is this guy to facing off of Jeremy Stephens now?
I think that he's just coked up and don't have anything else to do.
That actually is a good point. Hey,
I don't think about it at all.
Yeah, I don't think about McGregor that much, but I just thought it was interesting that, just as I said, you were the guy that was the who the fuck is this guy, and now you're like trying to face off with Jeremy Stephens and calling out for a fight and stuff like that. It's just crazy the fall from grace that Conor McGregor has actually had from where he was to where he is now. And I was never really a fan of the guy either. I think I remember even me and you going back and forth on Facebook posts when I predicted that Chad Mendez is going to beat Conor McGregor, and you were like, "No, Conor McGregor is going to beat him," and blah blah blah. So I haven't really been a McGregor fan since then, but it's just crazy the absolute heel turn that has happened to him. And I found the fight. It is Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. Such a random fight because, dude, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Right hand to God, I was like, "What on God's green earth happened to Gunnar Nelson?" Like I hadn't heard from him. I was like, I didn't know what happened to him, so I just assumed that he retired. This is probably 3 or 4 days ago. Like I was like, whatever happened to Gunnar Nelson? And oh no, yeah, he's back against Kevin Holland. And Holland's probably going to get subbed again. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but it's at 170, so I don't know, dude. I think, dude, Gunnar Nelson, I don't think has the best chin in the world, and we know Kevin Holland has power at 170. Dude, Leon Edwards knocked Gunnar Nelson out one of the most comedic ways. He's like one of Leon's only knockouts.
No, he actually didn't knock out Gunnar Nelson. It still went to a decision. Yeah, it still went to a decision, but he ended up dropping him. It was a nasty elbow, though. It was a nasty elbow. But no, I was gonna say, because I know you're saying that Kevin Holland has a little bit of a, maybe has a chance. Dude, if you heard some of the clips in that Rampage interview that he had, it's kind of concerning, man. Because I don't know the other guy who is the co-host on that Rampage podcast, but he had asked Kevin Holland, basically, what do you do in terms of preparation to, basically get ready for these fights and stuff like that. And Kevin Holland's like, dude, I just smoke weed and mess with honeys, for the most part. Like, that's literally what he said, that like, that's all he does with his training. As soon as he's done training, he goes home and basically smokes weed and just messes with chicks all day. And I'm not saying that's a bad lifestyle, but I just don't know, man. I mean,
what do you want him to do when he's done training, D-Rose? What do you want him to do?
Yeah,
let Kevin Holland know what to do when he's done training.
I'm not telling him what necessarily to do, but it just doesn't necessarily seem that he has that same type of energy that he had when he first came in, when he was kind of that young, hungry, prove it guy, versus now he just almost kind of seems complacent to be where he's at now. And he keeps getting similar matchups and he keeps getting similar results. So it just doesn't seem like anything's really improving too much in his results in his fights. And I'm a Kevin Holland fan, so I want to see better from him. But, it just doesn't seem like he's really taking it serious too much. Not to say that.
I just have one question for you, D-Rose. Do you know what a 45-70 is?
Oh, what? What's that?
A 45-70. If you don't know what a 45-70 is, then I don't want to. Here's another fun one that I found in the meantime. We got Brandon Moreno taking on Steve Erceg. This is going to headline UFC Mexico on March 29th. What's your thoughts here?
That's a good fight, but is Steve Erceg kind of getting is he getting matched up a little high too quick? I mean, we just saw him come off a pretty bad knockout to Kai Kara France, and I think Kai Kara France is top level in that division as well. And obviously Pantoja is the champ. But man, I just don't want to see Steve Erceg all of a sudden, be a promising prospect, go from a promising prospect to then all of a sudden kind of spiraling out. Because if he loses to Moreno, that's 3 losses in a row, and we saw what Moreno looked like in his last fight. Man, I don't know. Besides Pantoja, who I'm betting against if Moreno fights like that, like he did against Amir Albazi, because he just looked like he was on absolute fire in that fight, and that's a tough matchup for Steve Erceg, man.
Indeed. All right, so we will move on to the fights for this weekend. If y'all haven't already, please do your boys a favor and hit that thumbs up button for us, if y'all don't mind. And we'll get into the UFC Fight Morning, Saudi Arabia, Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov. Our prediction and our picks for the card this weekend. So, with that being said, browser has lost connection. I gotta reshare the screen again. Let's see if it. Oh, there we go. Get off there. All right, so we'll start right here, D-Rose. This weekend we have taking place at Saturday, February 1st, 9 a.m. on the East Coast. Going to be taking place at the A&B Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We have 11 fights headlined by Israel, the last style bender Adesanya, taking on Nasruddin, the French-Russian sniper, Imavov. We got Shara Bullet Magomedov taking on Michael Venom Page, or MVP. We got Sergey Inspector Gadget Pavlovich taking on Biggie Boy Jairzinho Rosenstruck. We got Said Nurmagomedov taking on Vinicius Loke Dog Oliveira. I wasn't ready for it. I'll play it when we get there. We got Faraz Ziam taking on Mike Davis. Fun to see Mike Davis in there. We got Muhammad Naimov taking on Khan Offley. Don't really understand that fight, why he's here, but yeah. We got Shamil Gaziev taking on Thomas Peterson. Maybe Shamil Gaziev can get to the third round. We'll see. We got T-Rex, Terrence McKinney taking on Demir Hadzovic. That should be a fun fight. We got Jazz Davicius taking on Myra Bueno Silva, a.k.a. MBS. Kind of buried down on the card. Surprised on that. We got Bogdan Grad taking on Lucas Almeida. And first fight of the night, if you are on the West Coast, you are waking up at 6 a.m. to watch Hamdi Abdelwahab taking on Jamal Pogues. few fights were canceled on this card. Ikram Aliskerov taking on Andre Muniz. Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi taking on Jordan Levitt. And then rematched rebooked was Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi against Balaji Oki, and that fight fell off as well. So we might see Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi versus someone this weekend, but at least not right now. So what's your thoughts on the card as a whole, man?
No, it's a pretty good card, man. Obviously, my favorite fighter is Izzy, topping the card. So, I hate that I'm going to be at work while this card's going on. I'm going to try my best, especially for the main and co-main and those types of fights, that I want to make sure that I'm at a point where I can kind of sit down and watch these fights. But man, there's a lot of good matchups. I think there's some dogs on here that I'm looking at as well that I like, and it's a good card, man. So I like it.
Indeed. And yes, Dave, he did. He did lose on the tough finale. Run it, baby. 6 a.m. Good luck, brother. That's if I was waking up at 6 a.m. to watch Hamdi Abdelwahab, I think I might just sleep in a little bit. First fight of the night, we got Hamdi.
You woke up for like the China card. You woke up like super early to watch that card, so it's not like it's beneath you to actually wake up early and watch Hamdi Abdelwahab.
Oh, am I going to be awake at 9 a.m.? Of course I am. And for the China or for the Singapore card, I think I stayed up a little bit and watched one of the fights, or I either went to bed mad early and then I woke up by I think 8 or 9. But yeah, this is a different day. We got Hamdi Abdelwahab taking on Jamal the Stormtrooper Pogue. So Hamdi, the Hammer Abdelwahab, is 3-0, 32 years old, 6'2". If he says he's 6'2", maybe. He has a 73-inch reach, while Jamal Pogues, on the other hand, is 11-4 overall, 29 years old, 6'3", and a 77-inch reach. Last time we saw Hamdi Abdelwahab in the octagon, he was fighting Don't Mays, and that was the fight that the Don't Mays name came from, because I picked Dontel Mays to beat Hamdi Abdelwahab, and the fight was close. I thought Dontel won, but they gave it to Hamdi Abdelwahab. And then a month later, it comes out that Hamdi basically popped for every drug and steroid that you can fail for, and has been banned for 2 years, and then spent another year out. So I don't really know how Hamdi's going to look here. He is a Russian, or not a Russian. He is a Olympic gold medalist for one of these countries. So Olympic wrestling background and gold medal. That tells me that he can take down most people on this earth. So at heavyweight, I suspect him to take down Jamal Pogues with ease, because Jamal Pogues is a middleweight that is now a heavyweight. And if I'm going to be completely honest, if there's one good thing that I could say about Jamal Pogues, is he's got this solid jab that he's just on his back foot and just got this jab. But it's just that he's going to be on his back foot and just throwing out jabs. And if you're on your back foot, you're going to get taken down, dude. So give me Hamdi Abdelwahab to win this fight via decision. It's your guy, D Rose. Who you picking here?
Yeah, I mean, hey, he got me the pick champ against your boy Don't Mays. So
Don't Mays.
So yeah, he got me that. So hey, I gotta at least show him respect for that. But honestly, I couldn't have broken it how much better.
Sorry. We got Hamdi minus 115 and Jamal Pogues is minus 105. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 250. Under 2.5 is plus 190. So pretty close.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you pretty much broke it down exactly how how I think about it. I think Jamal Pogues is just an overblown heavyweight. kind of like a Jake Collier type where he should be fighting maybe a weight class down, potentially 2 weight classes down. And Hamdi Abdelwahab, 6'2". I mean, he might be 6'2" if he's standing on center blocks, but yeah, I don't know if he's 6'2" in any other normal world. But I do think that he has, I think he has a natural size advantage because you could just see the density in his body. He's just naturally the bigger guy. And I think he'll just have the wrestling advantage over Jamal Pogues. And I just think you see probably a pretty boring fight here. But I'm going Hamdi Abdelwahab by decision.
All right, same thing. Looks like me and D-Rose are both on Hamdi via decision. House of Cardboard, what time does the card start in Hawaii? Midnight? So it would be 3.
They're an hour behind
Hawaii's,
California? Or
no, I think they're 3 hours behind. So I think maybe 3 a.m. or even before 3 a.m.
Damn.
Or maybe even midnight. I'm not sure. That's early as shit. That is. Might as well just stay up and watch it at that point. All right. So me and D-Rose, 3 a.m. maybe 3. Oh, that is. Ugh. All right. Me and D-Rose both on Hamdi Abdelwahab via decision there. So we'll move on to the next fight being Bogdan Grad taking on Lucas Alexander. Bogdan, the Unleashed Grad, Bogdan, the Unleashed Grad, 29 years old, 5'8", 70-inch reach. He is 14-2 overall. Lucas Almeida, 8-4 overall, 29 years old, 5'11", 73-inch reach. Currently odds for this fight plus 100 for Bogdan Grad, minus 120 for Lucas Almeida. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 115. Under 2.5 also minus 115. Yeah, this is just one that I've done a little bit of research on, but I don't really have too much of a read here. Bogdan Grad is a fairly decent striker, but God, he gets hit. He takes so much damage, dude. It's like just doesn't move his head, and he just kind of gets mollywopped on. But he's tough, dude. 14-2 overall. Lucas Almeida, I guess he's an all right fighter, kind of well-rounded. He will be the bigger guy here. So I think that's the way I'm going to end up leaning. It's just Lucas Almeida to just maybe win the first 2 rounds, maybe kind of start to slow down in the third. Like Bogdan Grad kind of take over in the third, but I don't really see him getting a finish unless he does. But I think Lucas Almeida should win the first 2 rounds here. So I think I'm going to Lucas Almeida to win this fight via decision. He is minus 120 favorite. Bogdan Grad is plus 100.
Is it Almeida or Alexander?
Lucas Alexander, sorry.
Yeah. Well, just because there is a Lucas Almeida at lightweight, so it did kind of confuse me there. I was like, wait a minute, we are thinking about the right guy, right? Yeah. I mean, for me, from what I've seen from Lucas Alexander, I mean, he's a good athlete, but I think he also gets hit as well. I mean, I think both these guys are very hittable. I think Lucas Alexander can control the range, but I think that Bogdan Grad, just from what I've seen in his contender series fights, he is a little bit more willing to kind of mix it up and maybe take it to the ground. Where I think Lucas Alexander, I think his path to victory is the striking. I can see Bogdan Grad potentially maybe even getting a submission. I think that's going to be the way that he's going to have to end up winning the fight, is probably by taking it down, or at least early on to try to slow down Lucas Alexander in the range. So give me Bogdan Grad here. I'm going to go by submission.
All right. Interesting. So let me do UFC Saudi. Be on this side. And do you want to answer Anton's question right here while I'm getting this set up?
I mean, I don't necessarily feel great about him per se. Again, he ended up getting me the pig champ last time, so hey, I'll show him some respect in that sense. But as far as him being a future prospect, I don't necessarily see that. I could just see him being a guy on the Saudi Arabia type or Abu Dhabi type cards where they just need a filler, throw him in, and hey, he'll get the Muslim crowd kind of going a little bit. That's about it.
Yeah. My theory is since I lost money on him last time, maybe I can try to make some money on him on him this time, and I won't hate him as much. So me and D-Rose split on that one. D-Rose going Bob Congrad via submission. I'm going Lucas Alexander via decision. Moving on, dude, we got a fun one. Tough one for me to call. Jasmine Jazz Devicious taking on Chitara Myra Bueno. Jazz Devicious is 12-3 overall. She is 35 years old, 5'7" and a 68-inch reach, while Myra Bueno Silva is 10-4-1 overall, 33 years old, 5'6" and a 66.5-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight -270 for Jasmine Jazz Devicious, plus 220 for Myra Bueno Silva. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 -330. Under 2.5 is plus 240. Yeah, dude, this one's a tough one for me to call. And it wouldn't be if Jasmine was a dog, I would be like, oh, I'm on Jasmine, like 100%. But dude, her as a -270 favorite against Myra Bueno Silva that moved down from 135. I know she fought at 125 before, but you know she had some success up at 135. And they're and they're giving her like one of the biggest 125ers. So I don't know how this fight plays out. I think I'm going to want to see the face-offs, but it's either Jazz late or via decision, or Myra Bueno Silva with the early sub. I just don't know which way I want to go. I think I'm leaning more toward Jazz via decision just because of the role that she's on. So I think that's where I'm going to go. Give me Jazz via decision. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think, pretty easy decision for me. I mean, I think, Myra Bueno Silva, while I do think that she's a good fighter, I think she had a lot of success at 135 because, if we're being honest, 135 is the weakest women's division, bar
dude,
none.
We're at 125 here, dude.
Yeah, Myra Bueno Silva is moving back down. So, Myra Bueno Silva had success at bantamweight because I think of a weaker division where I think you can argue that women's 125 might be the best division for the women right now in the UFC. And I think, as you said, Jasmine Jasovicius is on a roll. Myra Bueno Silva's biggest thing at 135, which is why I picked against her in a lot of her fights, is her gas tank. And against somebody who Jasmine Jasovicius, she kind of has a similar type, I'm not going to say Marab type style, but very similar in terms of she doesn't have the best striking, but she's going to land and she's going to work her pressure. She's going to work some kicks in. She's going to take you down. She's going to beat you up. And her ground and pound is getting better as well. I like the role that Jasmine is on right now. I think round 3 or decision, I think I'm willing to play that straight up. I think I might be willing to put some decent money on that too, just straight up, just as a, that's how confident I feel that Jasmine can get it done, either a third round or by decision. So, yeah, give me Jasmine Jasovicius here.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Jazz here. I guess it just wouldn't surprise me too much as if Jazz stuck her neck in, some sort of like ninja choke, and that like the Holly Holm thing happens, and like you're just like fucking standing there like, well, fuck, it's like that's why I said it's like MBS could get that early sub, but I just can't count on that. That's my thing. So me and D-Rose both on Jazz via decision. We got a fun one here, dude, and I am so excited. I can't wait until I get some props for this because right now I only have the over under. But let's get into it. We've got T-Rex Terrence McKinney taking on Damir the Bosnian Bomber Hadzovic. T-Rex is 15-7, 30 years old, 5'10" and a 73-inch reach. Damir the Bosnian Bomber Hadzovic, 14-7. 38 years old, 5'9" and a 70-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight -500. T-Rex Terrence McKinney and Damir Hadzovic is plus 380. Your underdog. Over under on this one is set at 1.5. Of course, it's a T-Rex fight. Over 1.5 is plus 190. under 1.5 is -250. And I just there's two numbers here that if they were wider, it wouldn't surprise me, and that's the T-Rex money line and the Demir Hadzovic. I mean, in the under 1.5. If those lines were wider, it wouldn't surprise me one single bit, dude. We haven't seen Demir in a little bit. I'm sure you were like, who the fuck is Demir Hadzovic? You had to go back a little bit to figure out when he fought last, but Jesus Christ, dude, he's fucking terrible. I don't know who has worse takedown defense. Is it Demir Hadzovic or Myron Bueno Silva that we just talked about? Because it's just like a strong gust of wind could knock them over, and then they're on their back, dude. And yeah, I've just seen Demir get taken down by the most non-wrestlers possible. So that being said, T-Rex with a solid wrestling background, and we know he has power. I have to go T-Rex round one here, whether it's sub or via ground and pound. I think he goes out there, takes Demir down with ease, and grounds and pounds or submits Demir Hadzovic. Demir Hadzovic was in one of the funniest moments that anyone that in recent memory can recall with another fan favorite in Renato Moicano. After Renato Moicano submits Demir Hadzovic, Renato Moicano was like, I wanted a fight longer. And Demir Hadzovic says, well, why did you submit me then? Renato Moicano was upset at Demir Hadzovic for being so ass that he wanted to fight him longer, but he was just too bad.
And during the clip, like Renato Moicano looks at him and he says, "Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point." like when Hadzovic said that, like why would you say that knowing that that was gonna be Hadzovic's response? It was hilarious.
Yeah, so that being said, I just think T-Rex is gonna come out here and absolutely demolish Demir Hadzovic. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that, gosh, I just wouldn't be so certain in betting on Terrence McKinney. I'm not betting this fight at all. I mean, I know you're waiting on props on this. I could not advise people to stay further away from this fight. Just in my opinion, you just don't know what Terrence McKee you're going to get, because I mean, we've seen him come in, and wasn't it ZM that he had a submission win over, and like he's knocked out Matt Favola, but then he's just had like weird performances, and getting slept by Ismail Bonfim, and we kind of like a Bonfim now, he's almost kind of like a point fighter to a certain extent. And it's like, you look back and, some of his losses just hasn't aged well for Terrence McKinney. So just, makes me a little bit hesitant in just being so definitive and picking him. Demir Hadzovic, I am with you. Dude's not great at all. So I am going to go Terrence McKinney. I do ultimately think Terrence McKinney, he's got wrestling chops as well, man. So Terrence McKinney can take it down to the ground. He can get a submission as well. He's pretty talented when it comes to the jiu-jitsu game off his top pressure. So I do think he gets I'm going to say a submission victory for Terrence McKinney. But, man, I just wouldn't be so confident as to put a lot of money on it, because we've seen Terrence McKinney, crap the bed before.
Yeah, I just don't think the 38-year-old Demir Hadzovic is going to be one to stick around to last to see what T-Rex has. All right, B and D Rose both on T-Rex there. Up next, we've got Shamil Gaziev taking on Thomas the Train Peterson. Shamil Gaziev, 13-1 overall, 34 years old, 6'4" and a 78-inch reach, while Thomas the Train Peterson, 9-2 overall, 29 years old, 6'1" and a 74-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight -345 for Shamil Gaziev. Thomas the Train Peterson +275. The underdog. Over/under on this one is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 -175. Under 1.5 is +135. It's enough one. I mean, this is another one that, man, dude. every time Shamil Gaziev fights, I talk about how terrible his fucking gas tank is, and we saw it when he fought Jairzinho, because I think his limit is the third round. You put him in a fourth round, he's like, nah, dog, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I can't, dude. I remember
They're like
after
biting
the
on his
round,
mouthpiece.
dude. I remember after the round, he's like, he was breathing so tired. And then he's like, can you continue? He's like, I can't see. And he was like, your eyes fine. He's like, I can't see. And then they brought the doctor in to check his eyes, and he told the doctor that he couldn't see. Like, what? He was just so tired.
Exhausted, dude. It was so bad.
I can't see. like you know how like the little like the translator voice would just it just like you can hear it over the screen.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's like, he's like, I can't see. And you're just like, what? It's in between rounds. What happened? Was your cornerman jabbing your eyes or something?
Yeah. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to get a DQ win for the guy.
Yeah. So we know Shamil's limits are about 15 minutes. Luckily, this is a 15-minute fight. He looks the best in the first round. He looks all right the first minute of the second round. Oh, then he kind of looks like complete dog shit the rest of the time that he's in the fight, dude. He's got about 6-7 minutes of gas, and then he's ready to find the door. On the other hand, Thomas the Train Peterson, he's a good overall fighter, well-rounded, 6'1". I don't know, to be honest. I get him confused quite often with Mick Parkin. Their fight styles are pretty similar, too. Although Thomas the Train Peterson does like to take the fights to the ground and has some ground and pound himself. He can go to decision, though. He does have the gas tank to go. He does have a lot of ground and pound finishes, though. D-Rose, here's my dilemma. If this fight goes past the first round, it's going to be a toss-up and an absolute shit show. I don't know who's going to win this fight, but because we are in Saudi, I'm going to guess that if it goes to decision, and if it's not definitive, like, oh, Thomas Peterson for sure won, I'm going to go Shamil Gaziev. But I'm going to think that Shamil Gaziev can get Thomas Peterson out of there in the first round. So either way, I think I'm going to go Shamil Gaziev here. What about you?
Yeah, this one's hard for me to pick because I'm absolutely with you that I mean, I remember picking I can't see. I can't see. No, like just I can just imagine the way the translator pronouncing it. That's
like you just see him like, oh. He's like, what's wrong with you? He's like, I can't see. Like, what? You're just breathing hard.
Yeah, the exhaustion is going through his eyes at that point, and he just it's taking over his body at that point. The exhaustion did. But yeah, I think I picked Gaziev in his first fight against what was it, Mark Budai coming in to the UFC. So ended up getting a finish too. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I thought Gaziev really had a lot of promise, but man, that I mean, I know he won his last fight too, but he kind of gassed in his last fight as well. And Thomas Peterson, I just don't see much from him. He can. I'm with you. If it goes past the first round, I think Thomas Peterson can use his wrestling, but I just think Gaziev is going to be the bigger guy overall and be able to use his size. So I'm going to go Gaziev. I'll say by decision. I think it's going to be ugly, but I would not be surprised if Gaziev got upset here. And this, I might even be staying away from more than the previous fight, betting-wise. I'm staying as far away as I can.
Fair enough. Me and D-Rose both on Shamil Gaziev. We'll move on to the next one, where we have Muhammad Naimov, the Hillman, taking on Khan Genghis Awfully. We have Muhammad Naimov, 11-3 overall, 30 years old, 5'9" and a 70-inch reach. Khan Genghis Awfully is 11-3-1 overall, 31 years old, 5'7" and a 66-inch reach. Muhammad Naimov has one of those cool hats, so that's always a good thing. And in Saudi, having a cool hat, that's just double good luck. So, Khan Awfully, on the other hand, was in the Ultimate Fighter finale and got beat by, I think, Marion Santos, dude. That kid's good, though. He's got a lot of power. Khan Awfully is a wrestler, and that's about all that he's got. Muhammad Naimov's got solid power. He likes to spin sometimes, throw these spinning back kicks. I'm for sure picking Muhammad Naimov to win this fight. I just don't know if he wins it by knockout or via decision. Currently, odds for this fight are Muhammad Naimov minus 340, Khan Awfully plus 270. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5 minus 166, under 2.5 plus 130. I guess I'll go Muhammad Naimov. Let's go via knockout. Let's go round 2. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, this one's honestly, this one's kind of tough for me to call too, because I think I think Awfully is I think he's a live dog here. I definitely think he's got a shot, because I think after that last Naimov fight, him kind of getting, Felipe Lima did show some promise, obviously in his last couple performances in the UFC, but yeah, he kind of whooped up on Naimov there, especially on the ground in that fight. And I know that Lima got that finish, later in the fight by submission. And Khan, as you said, he's good with wrestling, so I would not be surprised if he ended up getting some type of submission against Muhammad Naimov. Do I have the guts to say it? I don't. I'm going to go Muhammad Naimov here. But again, I think it's a close fight, man. And yeah, that's one that maybe like a round 3 to start bet. But yeah, in terms of a winner bet wise, that's tough to call. But I'm going to go Naimov. Let's go round 3 decision.
Fair enough. Antoine, do you guys think Shamil can climb the UFC heavyweight rankings? I think the brass aren't too high. I think he's got to have a gas tank.
I don't.
After 3 rounds, like you're telling the doctor you can't see, I don't think you can climb the ranks like that. We got UFC bets in here with the Brazil flags and the money shot. Shout out to UFC bets. All right, me and D-Rose both on Muhammad Naimov there. Moving on to the main, or that was already the main card. Second fight of the main card, we've got Fares, the Smile Killer Ziam, taking on Beast Boy Mike Davis. So Fares Ziam, 16-4 overall, 27 years old, 6'1" and a 75-inch reach, while Mike Beast Boy Davis, 11-2 overall, 32 years old, 6 foot and a 72-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight plus 120 for Fares Ziam, minus 142 for Mike Davis. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 238. Under 2.5 is plus 180. Yeah, fun fight here. We don't see Mike Davis a ton, but when we do see him, he's a great fighter, dude. Kind of injury prone, so he does kind of get hurt sometimes. My thing here is what's the face-off going to look like? Because Fares Ziam usually has a pretty solid size advantage over those people that he fights. But it says that, he's going to have 1-inch height advantage. So I guess we'll see here. Can't wait for some face-offs here. If this is on the feet, dude, like all 3 rounds, I could see Fares Ziam winning this fight via decision just due to picking and poking all 3 rounds. My thing is, I think he can get taken down. And Mike Davis, if he gets you on the ground, I don't know if you get up. He's got solid ground and pound, solid submissions. And, you kind of mentioned it earlier. You saw what T-Rex did to Fares Ziam. That was a couple years ago. Fares Ziam's takedown defense has gotten a little bit better. He's kind of grown into his body a little bit more, put on some size. But I think I have to go Mike Davis here, dude. And I think Mike Davis probably submits Fares Ziam. So, yeah, give me Mike Davis. Let's go round 3 arm triangle. Which way are you going here, man?
Man, this was a tough fight to call because, as you said, Mike Davis is he's a, great athlete, got great power, kind of well-rounded, can do it all. And he's super powerful. And from Fair ZM, he's a guy that, he's been on a roll as of late, man. He's still young, 27 years old. I didn't even realize he was that young. His last fight, as we had mentioned, it was to actually Terrence McKinney, and he has not lost since. He's beaten some pretty good guys, and that knockout against Matt Favola in his last fight was pretty nasty to say the least. So yeah, this is good matchmaking here. Man, for me, I think I got to take Fair ZM here as the dog. I know he's a slight dog here. Man, I think there's going to be Mike Davis listed as 6 foot. That's being generous. I would say more 5'10". Maybe he just looks like on TV to me, and maybe with shoes off or maybe with shoes on, he's probably 6 foot. But I think Fair ZM is a fair 6'1", 6'2", while barefoot. He looked like he was in a different weight class compared to Matt Favola in their last fight. And Matt Favola is not necessarily a small dude himself. So I think the natural size is going to be a Fair ZM. He's shown good takedown defense as well as good clinch striking and his own takedowns as well. I think Fair ZM's game has came a long way, man. Mike Davis isn't active enough. So give me Fair ZM here. I think Fair ZM by decision.
All right, fair enough. Our second different pick of the night, I'm on Mike Beast Boy Davis, D Rose on the Smile Killer, Faraz ZM. We will move on to the next fight where we have Saeed Nurmagomedov taking on none other than
Mr. Lope Dog?
That's me.
Oh, you're next.
Mr. Lock Dog?
What's up, baby?
Yeah, right.
You all right?
Yeah, no.
All right, girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loke Dog or Lock Dog Vinicius Oliveira. So Saeed Nurmagomedov, 18-3 overall, 32 years old, 5'8", 70-inch reach, while Loke Dog Vinicius Oliveira, 21-3 overall, 29 years old, 5'9", and a 70-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are minus 162 for Saeed Nurmagomedov, while Vinicius Oliveira plus 136. Your underdog. Over/under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 135. Under 2.5 plus 105. Yeah, dude. Fun fight here, and I think a lot of people get swayed by the Nurmagomedov name, thinking, he trains with Khabib, but no relation. They don't even train together at all. Have never trained together. Saeed is a good fighter, though. He's got solid striking, got, I guess, sneaky chokes, but nothing that really wows you too much. He kind of, I guess, is a size bully. He's usually the bigger guy at 135, but he's going to be taking on Low Dog Vinicius Oliveira. If you look at the stats, going to be the bigger guy here, going to have the longer reach just by a half inch, but I like it, dude. And I've seen Saeed not look the best at the end of the fights. Like he has maybe started to run out of gas. And if you do that against someone like Low Dog, you saw what happened in his last fight. Who did he beat? Bernardo Sopai,
Ricky Simon.
Knee. Yeah, that was your. Oh yeah, that one happened next. But your knockout of the year, the Bernardo Sopai flying knee. He's dangerous. He's dangerous, and he's got the gas to go all three. So, with that being said, give me.
Thank you. I said, do we have a talent? Huh?
Give me Low Dog to drop that round 3 bomb on Saeed Nurmagomedov. Give me Vinicius Oliveira round 3 knockout. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, man. I think yeah, I mean, sometimes though you gotta leave stuff where it's at. Scary Movie has had its run. I mean, I guess you can maybe do a different type of rebrand to it, but they don't really make scary movies like they do anymore, or used to back in the day to make the parodies of. Just let it breathe and be its own thing, But I think for this fight, I think that Vinicius Oliveira, we've seen him come up now. The reason why I mentioned the Ricky Simone fight is that I thought in that fight, he was an underdog in that fight. I remember taking him straight up in that fight. I think I got him at like plus 170. I was super surprised that he was a pretty decent underdog against Ricky Simone. I guess it was just that he was a little bit more improving. And coming into this fight, I think he's being a little bit overlooked coming into this fight. I know Saeed Nurmagomedov does have more of the UFC experience, but I am with you in terms of his gas tank. He does tend to gas there in the third round a little bit. If he's not able to get the takedown early and kind of get that control, if he really has to fight for those takedowns, his gas tank does tend to wear on later on in the fight. And I think Vinicius Oliveira did a really good job of stuffing the takedowns in his last fight against Ricky Simone, as well as displaying that awkward striking style that he has. So I'm with you, man. I like Vinicius Oliveira. I think this goes to decision. I don't think Saeed gets finished here. I think he basically tries to hang on to Vinicius Oliveira's leg for dear life in the third round to not get pounded out. But I think Vinicius Oliveira gets the decision here.
Yeah, I didn't see too many movies growing up, Antoine. I wasn't that kind of family where I did things.
Not the movie buff, man. So yeah, I'm the last person you want to ask about movies, man. I've not seen a lot of your favorite movies. I bet you can name your top 10 favorite movies. I might have seen 2, maybe.
All right, so me and D-Rose both on the underdog in Vinicius Oliveira. We got a fun one up next. We got Sergey Pavlovich taking on Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rosenstruck. Inspector Gadget, Sergey Pavlovich, 18-3 overall, 32 years old, 6'3", and 684-inch reach. While Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rosenstruck is 15-5 overall, 36 years old, 6'2" on the best day with some high heels on maybe, and a 78-inch reach. Odds for this fight, minus 310, Sergey Pavlovich, Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rosenstruck, plus 250, the underdog. Over-under on this one is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is plus 160. Under 1.5 is minus 210. Yeah. I'm going to be short here because I think this looks probably something like the Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rosenstruck fight. I just think Sergey Pavlovich just has the power to shut off the lights of Jairzinho Rosenstruck. And if the leg kick doesn't work, then I think he don't have anything. So I think Sergey Pavlovich going to bum rush Jairzinho Rosenstruck and hit him with those Inspector Gadget uppercuts that you always talk about. So give me Sergey Pavlovich round 1 knockout here. Which way are you going, man?
Man, I don't know if this fight is easy for me to call. I don't know as just flatly as that, because for me, I thought that last fight against Alexander Volkov for Sergey was kind of eye-opening. I mean, I told you I was on Alexander Volkov, going into that fight the whole time and everything. But I still, even me thinking that Alexander Volkov was going to win that fight, still was a little bit disappointed in the way that Sergey Pavlovich looked. So Sergey Pavlovich is kind of due for some get back. Jairzinho, the thing that's going to work against Jairzinho here is the speed advantage. Sergey's going to definitely be the faster guy, but I say over the distance, Jairzinho is definitely the more experienced fighter, because Sergey Pavlovich gets heavy shots off in the first round, sure, but when does Sergey ever look good outside of the first round? He doesn't. He never gets out of the first round, and if he does, he gets pounded. And me personally, I like Jairzinho here. And in the dog role, I think Jairzinho has faced a lot better competition. I think a lot more battle tested, more experience in the, going the distance here. I think Jairzinho can kind of basically stretch the fight out. I think if it gets outside of the first round, this is anybody's fight. And we've seen what a mean jab can do to Sergey Pavlovich. And if there's one thing that I can credit Jairzinho with, is a snappy jab. Give me Jairzinho here, man. I like him as a dog.
All right, fair enough. Our third different pick of the night. I'm on Sergey Inspector Gadget Pavlovich. You're on Biggie Boy Jairzinho Rosenstruck. We're going to move on to the co-main event of the evening. We've got Cheryl Bullet Magomedov taking on Michael Venom Page. Fun fight. Share a bullet. Magomedov is 15-0, 30 years old, 6'2" and a 73-inch reach, while Michael Venom Page is 22-3, 37 years old, 6'3" and a 79-inch reach. The kicker on this fight is taking place at 185 pounds. And, man, if this was Bellator MVP, I would have no problem just picking him straight up. Oh, he's probably going to, kick the other eye out of Charbullet's head because he just had these crazy injury knockouts in his whole Bellator run. But in the UFC, it's almost like, I don't know, he had a solid first fight. He looked all right fast against Kevin Holland. But against Ian Gary, dude, he came in there with those ankle wraps on, and he just didn't look that fast, to be honest. I just didn't really know what to think about it. And this is going to be up at 185, so if he's slowing down already, what is another 15 pounds going to look like on him fighting? It could help him. Could he carry more power? Maybe. But I just don't know if he's as fast as he was down at 170. And we do know Share Bullet is fast, man. He's a big guy. I just don't think Share Bullet's that good, dude. And I think that's why I have to go MVP still. I want MVP to knock out Share Bullet in devastating fashion, like crush his head, break a leg, put a divot in the skull, things the MVP is known to do. But I think if he wins, it's probably going to be a decision, just clean points, and he's able to use his footwork and get away from Share Bullet. But this is only if he isn't slow at 185. This is all banking on him looking pretty much the same as he looked at 170. So give me MVP to win this fight via decision as the dog. Share Bullet minus 200, MVP plus 154. Which way are you going here, man?
This one, I've kind of gone back and forth, and I can make the argument for both. MVP, he's got that awkward, bouncy footwork, that kind of karate type style. And who's the better striker? Char's definitely the better striker as far as the diversity goes, just because Char can pull strikes from all different angles. We saw with that double spinning back fist. Michael Page is as dynamic of a highlight reel as he has. You can see in like some of his kicks and stuff like that, he's actually pretty stiff. In like a lot, he's not as flexible as his highlight reel might suggest. Where I think Chara is, you can see where he has shined as he's a pretty good athlete, man. He's got good dexterity. He kind of throws those kicks a little wild. The thing for me, I think that seeing MVP, I've been a fan of him since Bellator, and I've followed him since the Bellator days. Man, he has just not had. He defends a takedown like once, but he's got pretty good takedown defense. But when he gets to the ground, it's so frustrating to watch because he has no sense of urgency of getting up, and he's just basically trying to keep it safe. I would not be surprised if Char ends up coming out and we end up seeing a little bit of wrestling for the first time in his career. And I think that, I know he's a well-known striker, but that Magomedov, man, there's some wrestling blood in that background somewhere. And I think that Michael Page, going up a weight class against a guy like Char, who's a natural 185er, I think you're going to see a lot of wrestling in this fight, more than you would see from a typical Char Magomedov fight. And, man, I love me some MVP. I'd love to see him get the upset, but I just don't see it happening. I think Char gets it done by decision.
All right. Fair enough. So we will move on to the main event. That was our fourth different pick of the night. I am on Michael Venom Page. D Rose is on the one-eyed Middle Eastern monster, Share Bullet Magomedov. All right, main event time. Main event time. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. If y'all don't mind, we've got Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya, taking on the French-Russian sniper, Nasruddin Imavov. Israel Adesanya, 24-4 overall, 35 years old, 6'4" and an 80-inch reach, while Nasruddin Imavov, 15-4 overall, 28 years old, 6'3" and a 75-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight -162 for the last style bender, Israel Adesanya, plus 136 for Nasruddin Imavov, the underdog. Yeah, dude, for me, this one, 5 rounds is also curious case because we know Imavov does not have the best gas tank in the world. I know he finished Cannonier in the 4th, but okay, it's a little bit early. We can all agree on that. And it's just anytime he has to go later in the fight, he just doesn't look great, dude. And if I'm going to be honest, one of the funniest pictures that came out of all of last year was the Brendan Allen fight when he when he punched Imavov and like turned his head all the way around. That was a real picture in the Brendan Allen fight. So he's a good striker, but I think what's the team over there? Fucking Cyril Gahn trains there. Fucking Francis used to train there.
I know who you're talking about, and like the guys, I got the guy's face in my head now, but I can't.
Yeah, but so
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they train at the same gym. I don't think there's the wrestling there that I feel like there would need to be to beat someone like Izzy. You at least have to have the threat. And although he has taken some people down, it's just not great. And I think Izzy can defend all of those. And if there's one thing that I've noticed about Imavov, dude, is he has to press forward or he's not winning. If he has to back up, he is losing. And the thing is, when he presses forward, it's always in a straight line. And Izzy's footwork is so damn good. He can go left, right. And I think he's just going to be changing angles on Imavov all night. And I think Izzy just outclasses Imavov over all 5 rounds. We might even get a late finish, but probably not. I think Izzy via decision. Yeah, dude. And I think Izzy goes on to be like the Max Holloway of the 185 division. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that can beat him. But if you can beat him, I think you do get an immediate title shot. Past that, give me the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. Got my Izzy shirt on. Give me Izzy to win this fight via decision. How about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, I'm not going to hide it either. I also have a Israel Adesanya shirt on here. So yeah, obviously going to pick pick my favorite fighter here. But yeah, I think reason being is that I think that for me, I think going into Izzy's last fight with Dricus, well, actually, I guess rewind that. And that Sean Strickland fight, it just looked like it was almost like an Izzy who was kind of just like super complacent. He had the knockout win over Alex Ferreira, and then he was kind of just like, okay, right back on the saddle 4 months later, and let's fight Sean Strickland. Kind of didn't really have that energy anymore to kind of, sustain, keep getting motivated and keep getting ready and all these things. So I think the Sean Strickland fight, Izzy just looked basically exhausted at that point, just constantly fighting all the time. I think that year break really did favors for him because I think going into that Dricus fight, I thought we saw a different Izzy, man. He looked hungry. I thought he came out there and was a little bit more willing to bite down on the mouthpiece, and some of those exchanges with Dricus where they were kind of landing really good shots against one another. Izzy was working the body of Dricus as well. Dricus is just absolutely stubborn and just undeniable to a certain extent. But I just don't think that Nasruddin necessarily has that type of willpower to kind of fight through that type of fight if it gets to that point. Nasruddin has fought kind of clean for the most part in his career, and you're right. As soon as it gets a little muddy for Imavov, that's when you kind of see it go a little bit south for him. So I think, especially in the later rounds, I think the first 2 rounds, I think you can kind of see a similar, maybe like Merab and Umar type of fight to where, you can see maybe Imavov snatch a couple of the early rounds, but then I think Izzy will really start to take over at the end, and you can see Imavov really tailing off there in those latter 3 rounds. So give me Izzy here. As you said, cleaner striker. I think better footwork, good takedown defense, where I don't think Nasruddin is a super dangerous threat in the wrestling game. And I think Izzy, if he's backing up, he's a great counter striker. If he's moving forward, he's a good pressure striker. Give me Izzy here, I think, by decision.
Fair enough. Me and D-Rose both on the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. Shout out Izzy. Hope he gets it done, dude. Back on the track. I would love to see him get another win, especially against fucking someone that I consider to be a few steps lower than him. So that being said, our 4 different picks this week are Lucas Alexander versus Bogdan Grad, Mike Davis versus Fares Ziam, Sergey Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and MVP versus Shara Bullet Magomedov. Any brain busters as to which one of those I want to throw off, D-Rose?
I don't know, but I'm curious as to see are we getting any payoff for these if it ends up coming back to you? If
I can go buy a bottle of Hallerhead because I don't like the way that tastes. It tastes like banana asshole. If you guys want me to do that, I'll do a shot when I lose. When I lose my fight week, or I'll even do shot bets with any of you guys in the chat. But that's about all I'm going to do. I'm not going to drink D-Rose. Wants me to drink hot sauce. I'm not going to do that. He didn't even drink hot sauce. So it's okay. It is what it is. D-Rose won't do a shoey. He refuses to do that. He won't drink any form of alcohol. He said, "I don't want to shotgun something. It'll hurt my stomach." Like
don't drink alcohol. How terrible can that be, dude? Man.
Oh no, don't eat jelly beans. How bad could those be?
Hey, I actually bought a new box. I'm doubling down on it.
That's good for you.
I'm new box of them.
I'm not going to do that because we all know Beangate last year. You bought beans and swapped them out. That's why you wouldn't eat the beans when I brought them because we knew they were true beans, and you wouldn't eat them. So yeah, I'll have to think of something. But that's the only thing I have in mind. I'm not going to eat beans. I'm not going to drink hot sauce. I'm not going to do anything like that because I'm tired of throwing up. I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah, sorry.
Boys, give us a good suggestion here. Give us a good suggestion here on what he should do next.
Do you guys think Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum will be included in the Hall of Fame? I think that fight will be.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Top 5 personal fight for me of all time.
Drink Everclear. The fucked up part about that, Austin, is I actually have a bottle of it. I actually have some.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't do that, dude. That's
like, but D-Rose has no idea. See, it's just like he's like, oh, it's alcohol. He has no idea. You don't even realize that's illegal in most states. It's 190 proof, which is 95% alcohol. Like, you're not supposed to drink it.
You're not really punishing yourself unless you're drinking like some Burnett's
exactly.
or something
it's
like that.
You don't get it. What the fuck is Burnett?
The most bottom shelf. Like the most bottom shelf of bottom shelf.
So are you agreeing to buying a bottle of Smirnoff or Burnett's and taking a shot of it, D-Rose, when you lose?
No, because I'm actually sticking with the beans because I'm sticking my chest out on this one. I'm sticking my chest out on this.
Okay, fair enough.
I did. I agree to it because
D-Rose just battling against himself over here. Double shot of Everclear and Alex. Oh my goodness, I used to get fucked up. That's the gosh. All right, looks like D-Rose going to be shaving his eyebrows next time he loses.
Yeah, Austin wants to do. No, I don't want to do it.
What is it?
You can get the bomb.
What do you want to do? Like, drink a shot glass of hot sauce?
No, just like a spoonful.
And you think that's bad?
Have you ever watched?
Oh no, hot sauce that you eat on everything. You eat it on. I've been to your
Everyone's
house. I literally
Yeah,
went to your
it's like-
house. You had Dustin Poirier's hottest sauce, putting it on your pizza and eating it. That's not a
Yes.
that's not bad.
That's
for
not
you.
the type of
That's
that's
bad
not
for
the
you.
that's not the type of sauces.
That's
There
not
are
bad
Scoville
for you.
levels that you can go
That's
way
not bad.
above.
That's not
They don't
bad.
make the hot chip anymore.
That's not bad.
There are
All right. With
Scoville
that
you
being
can
said,
go
my name is
over.
Matt D Rose on that cyber screen. The podcast this week. I'm not gonna eat hot sauce. It's just I don't like vinegar, and that's your shit. I just I wanted to do alcohol, and you don't think it's bad. You want to do hot sauce. I don't think that's bad. So fair enough. We'll just continue on letting you compete against yourself. No, we're talking about the bomb or a Satan's blood. I don't think that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Austin's picking up what I'm putting down.
I do say the cinnamon challenge. Yeah, let's do that, D-Rose. Let's do the cinnamon challenge.
What is it?
Exactly. You're gonna act like you don't know what it is. Drink, homeless person.
No, I mean what? No, seriously. Like, is it
All
like?
right.
No, seriously, I don't know what the cinnamon challenge is.
Just eat cinnamon.
I
A
mean,
spoonful of cinnamon. Spoonful of cinnamon.
I haven't seen it. I mean, maybe I'll look it up. But what? Just like people can't like eat it or whatever.
Yeah, you can't drink anything. Only a few people have died from it, so we should be good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Seems safe.
That's it.
I mean, I'm thinking. I see when I hear like cinnamon, I'm thinking like cinnamon toast crunch and stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
not thinking about necessarily like the same thing.
Like cinnamon, the jar that comes.
Right?
that you
Yeah.
buy.
Like
The brown powder. Yeah, try to just eat any of that, D-Rose. You're gonna be regretting your life because it coats the inside of your mouth immediately, and it's really, really spicy. And when you breathe, it goes down your throat, covers your throat, so you immediately cough, and then it shoots out like a big brown cloud. No one can do it. It's impossible. No one can do it.
hey, that'd be something we can talk about.
You're so fucking stupid. That's how about this? How about let's just fucking put hot sauce in our asshole next week? Let's take coffee enemas as the punishment next week.
Yeah, but if we're really going to be men, we need to take it one step further and go to Russian roulette.
Go to what?
Go to Russian roulette if we're going to be real men.
Yeah, let's just play Russian roulette live on camera. See what happens.
On YouTube, man. That'd be one of your highest streams yet, I gotta imagine.
Yeah. All right. So D-Rose competing against himself for the pick champ. I'll do a shot if I lose, but I guess that's what I'm gonna try to. I don't know if I could get fucking Howlerhead or fucking maybe Bruce Buffer's shit. I think it's called like fucking sucker punch or some shit like that. I don't know. Doesn't look good, but maybe that's what I'll do. But with that being said, I don't have anything else. Different picks this week going to be Mike Davis, Faraz ZM, Sergey Pavlovich, Georgina Rodenstruck, MVP versus Shara Bullet, Magomedov. Anything on that, D-Rose?
Nah. We should be going on everything. We gonna try to come back, secure the strap again this week.
I guess here's my thing. Aren't shots for celebrating? I guess so, but I guess if you're not a drinker, like I don't take shots. So to me, that doesn't sound good or fun. Like I don't drink beer. I don't like the taste of beer. If I drink alcohol, it's like a girly mixed drink. That's how I drink alcohol. And nothing else. I don't like beer. I don't take shots. I don't do any of that. So Dave, maybe for you, but that's not me. You sound like a complete degenerate with your cocaine and alcohol use. That's just not me, Dave. I just don't do that. When I drink, it's a mojito. Like when I drink, it's like Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State, a mojito, vodka, Sprite, if I get a little crazy, I'll have like Jameson and Coke, but I don't do shots. That's just not me. So looks like D-Rose is going to be competing against himself this year. But with that being said, I don't got anything else here this week. Anything before we get out of here, D-Rose?
No, we should be good.
All right. So with that being said, I don't know if we're probably not going to be here for Change Cheddar on Friday because it's not a pay-per-view, but you're more than welcome. Cheese Will would be fun. Let's see who would have won last week. I don't even remember what it was because I didn't write it down, but it's okay. Because all I did was write.
I forgot our picks there.
Well, I mean, I have the plus number here, but I don't know if it hit or not because I didn't write who it was. You would have hit like the DeRitter sub prop, but that's the only thing that I know off the top of my head that you would have hit. I should probably write down the exact fights next week or the next pay-per-view that we did. But anyway, that's gonna be all from us. My name is Matt. I just fucking WWE slapped myself right on the chest. D-Rose is on that side of your screen. And we will catch you all right back here next week for the second week of the long run, D-Rose. We got 12 weeks in a row of UFC fights, so should be good. So with that being said, we'll catch you guys later. My name is Matt. D-Rose on that side of your screen. And hope all of you guys have a good week and stay safe out there. And we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.